Amy, how are you?
Look, it's
I
Judge.
know to you I may look old. Hope this statement ain't too bold, but here comes the judge.
Judge Napolitano. Do you remember Dark Shadows?
I don't.
Oh.
I really didn't even know what the heck I was listening to.
Well, you were listening to a little diversion from the normal Alma in the Morning fare. Well, actually, it's probably more like a lot of what we do. But yeah,
You sounded like you were having a blast as you were describing the hand.
it was this campy, haunted soap opera that used to be on back in the 70s. And
Right.
it was really terrifying. I remember it as a kid, just like, whoa. All right, so, boy, President Trump really hit the ground running yesterday, so much so that it looks like he's, well, not single-handedly, but almost, basically gutted the Democratic Party of its union support.
Well, that was absolutely brilliant. You know, I have been privileged in a way I could never have anticipated to spend some time with him. He is very engaging one-on-one, no matter what he's talking about. He can talk about a variety of things, but he can certainly talk about a lot of issues in common with blue-collar union leaders, particularly jobs, and the things he's done single-handedly to retain or return blue-collar jobs to the United States has been extraordinary. It's the type of jawboning, if you will, that presidents typically don't do personally. They often dispatch emissaries to do it, but he's using the force of his personality, which is a very, very large, outsized Yankee Stadium-sized personality,
Yeah.
to jawbone with various entities. You know, when I was with him the other day, as I was leaving, the president of Boeing came in. I don't remember the fellow's name. His first name is Dennis, and Trump goes, "Dennis, you know, the judge." Dennis goes, "Well, yes, my wife and I have seen the judge in our bedroom," and everybody laughed. And President-elect said, "I assume you mean on the flat screen." Everybody laughed again. "Yes, of course I do." So then I shook Dennis's hand, and I said, "Dennis, you have no idea what you're in for." And everybody laughed. He goes, "What am I in for?" I said, "The president is about to save taxpayers $5 million a jet at your expense." Well, Trump got up and hugged me. He was so excited at that. But that is I don't know what went on after I left, but that's the type of conversation he was planning to have. This is unheard of in the modern era.
Yeah, well, you know what? Interesting enough, I meant to talk to you about this because it's like a week in this era is like a month. So when I last talked to you, that very day, someone tweeted to me going, was Donald Trump listening to your show? Because I just saw Judge Napolitano at Trump Tower in New York. So literally, the day you talked to me, I think you went to go see him.
Yes, I was with him for an hour and 15 minutes last Tuesday, ostensibly to talk about his process for selecting a replacement for Justice Scalia. A conversation that I had with him for about an hour and 15 minutes back in December, both conversations at his request. But I spent about a half an hour with him alone. I mean, alone, just the two of us in his office. There was Secret Service in an outer office, but the two of us were alone, bonding, laughing, talking as normally and naturally as you and I would at dinner about a variety of topics. And then two of his advisors arrived, and we had a more serious, more focused conversation on the Supreme Court. And then it ended with this fellow, Dennis, from, forgive me for not mentioning his last name, he's the CEO of one of the largest manufacturers in the world, of Boeing. He arrived, and I made the joke about the president is about to mark down your bills to him, and Trump loved it, and Dennis laughed, and then I left.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's because that morning you did have advice for him, and you talked about how to deal with the situation regarding, I guess, the Hillary case and beyond. And so I thought that was interesting. That did you guys actually talk about some of the intricacies of this? Of pardoning?
We did not discuss Hillary. We discussed the Supreme Court. We discussed the judicial mind. We discussed hot-button issues. We discussed nuances between, like, say, the right to keep and bear arms in the home versus the right to keep and bear arms outside the home. Supreme Court has limited it to the home, even though there's no mention of the word home in the Second Amendment. So we talked about things like that, things that he and his team should explore in the intellect, in the mentality of potential judges. We talked about the effect of Roe versus Wade. Should it be overturned, where abortion would be more plentiful and where abortion would be unlawful? He loves the idea that Ronald Reagan articulated, which is pioneered not by Reagan but by the framers, which is you could vote with your feet. So that if you want to live in a place where abortion is legal up to the moment of birth, go to New Jersey, where it is legal up to the moment of birth. If you want to live in a state where it will probably be illegal if Roe versus Wade goes away, go to Texas or go to Pennsylvania. He was fascinated with all of that, how the Constitution can mean different things in different states.
Wow.
So it was that type of a conversation, which is second nature to me, but not something that he deals with every day. And we have not had a president in the modern era entering the White House with a vacancy already there.
Yeah. Well, here's
he told me back in December he had hoped to announce the replacement for Justice Scalia before he was inaugurated.
Right.
Then he said within 2 weeks. Then he said, within a few weeks. I think he's narrowing it down to 3 or 4 people, and he'll interview them again and make his choice.
Right, and I realize you're not really into the speculative game, but who do you think? Like, what names come to mind? I mean, I know we saw the list that he released during the campaign, and it had a dozen of them on there. Who do you think is kind of right?
Well, without mentioning names, because I really have I didn't get into names with him. I think it will be somebody from the list. There is a dark horse candidate not on the list, but I do think for Justice Scalia, he's going to pick somebody from the list. Not that he doesn't want to look outside the list. He has looked outside the list, but I think he feels he'll avoid a political firestorm if he sticks to the list. Now, I don't think there's anybody on the list that will please Chuck Schumer.
Yeah,
and
right.
This is not a list of Sonia Sotomayor types, and it's not even a list of Anthony Kennedy types. This is a list of people who rank high in, you ready for this word? Scalia-ness. The art of being like Antonin Scalia.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, I told him a funny story and he roared. I said, Mr. President, the Latin Mass attending traditionalist Catholic community, which is continually growing in the United States, believes that Justice Scalia should be canonized. He said, well, that's very interesting. And that requires 2 public miracles. Oh, yeah, very interesting. I said, we also believe he has already performed his first public miracle. He looks at me and he goes, what was that? I said, the election of Donald Trump.
Oh, love it.
He roared. He loved it. He goes, can I tell this without attributing it to you? I said, absolutely, Mr. President.
I love it. And it was great to see Archbishop Dolan up there at the inauguration as well. Judge Napolitano, love you. At Judge Nap. Thank you, my friend.
All the best, Jamie. Until next week.
Yes, sir.
Vincent Mortgage is your local source for all things mortgage related. Whether you're looking to refinance your current home, purchase a new home, lock in a reverse mortgage, or whatever it is, call Vincent Mortgage today and let one of our professional loan officers help you make the right decisions for your financial situation. Call 314-839-9999 or chat live at vincentmortgage.com.
12801 Flushing Meadows Drive, St. Louis, Missouri, 63131. NMLS number 225095.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace